It could be said that the movie Dreamgirls was one of the most influential Broadway musicals to ever be turned into a movie. Between the cinematography, the acting performances, and set design, in my opinion, the movie Dreamgirls had really put on a masterclass in filmmaking. However, as I recently watched the movie, there were some things that didn't quite sit well with me. And this is how the movie attempts to make Effie a sympathetic character as well as the primary protagonist. However, it is my opinion that Effie is as much of a villain as Curtis was, if not more, and Deena was the real hero of the movie. Now naturally, an opinion of this magnitude may receive some backlash, but I welcome all the smoke. So without any further delay, let's jump right in. So I think it's very important to address the elephant in the room. Brother Curtis, who was played by Jamie Foxx in the movie, was a snake and a lowlife. He was a criminal, he was manipulative, and all sorts of other negative things. However, it is my opinion that Curtis really never hid who he was from anybody. Now sure, he didn't tell everybody the details of his master plan, but it was clear that he was an opportunist from day one, and Marty saw this fairly early on. One could argue that Marty tried to warn Jimmy and others about Curtis, but they just didn't listen because they were blinded by the promise of money and fame. And one could also argue that if it wasn't for Curtis stepping into the bad side, then Jimmy and the Dreamettes would have been lucky to perform at more meaningful venues other than those talent contests and touring the Chitlin circuits. Curtis was single-handedly responsible for creating his own label and launching everybody on that label into superstardom. However, if we are to acknowledge who might be the real villain of Dreamgirls, then I believe that we would have to consider Effie White as the top choice for the number of reasons. First, very early in the movie, Effie is presented as a diva who believes that the world revolves around her. Effie doesn't quite view Deena or Lorrell as her equals, despite Deena and Lorrell being just as talented as Effie. And when Curtis comes along, Effie is completely fine with never having to share the spotlight with anybody in the group, while Deena and Lorrell believe in the motto that sharing is caring. And it's not until Curtis promotes Deena to lead singer that Effie kicks her negative antics into high gear, which threatens to destroy the dynamics of the group. Now let's look at Curtis's reasoning for making this change. Effie was indeed a powerful and talented singer, which was a great combination for soul music, but Curtis wanted a group to gain crossover audience, and giving Deena the green light to sing lead was a sure way to accomplish that goal. Now for those who watched the movie, then you know that Effie made a big fuss about this change, and she looked at Deena as beneath her, even suspecting Deena, her sister from another mister, of plotting against her and sleeping with Curtis just to get ahead, which was not the case. So it's safe to say that Effie would have been cool with creating a nightmare for the Dreamgirls because she didn't get her way. However, let's for one moment approach this problem from a logical perspective. Let's say, for the sake of argument, that Effie plays ball, assumes her position as backup singer, and she does not alienate her group members in the process. The Dreams would have continued to flourish, Effie would have continued to get paid, and according to the movie's timeline, she would have eventually had to leave the group to have her baby. Now the way I see things unfolding is that Michelle would have still likely replaced Effie, and because the world would have known that Effie and Curtis had a baby, Curtis would have caved into pressure of making Effie a solo artist. Because after all, Curtis only cared about what sold, and with a powerhouse singer like Effie, as well as an established record label, it would have been foolish for Curtis not to take advantage of that. Now because Curtis is who he is, then I believe he and Effie would have eventually split up because Effie isn't somebody who likes being controlled. But unfortunately, Effie decided to burn all of her bridges before accepting the buyout from the group, going poor, and blaming everybody as a reason for why she did not become a success. And that brings me to Deena. I consider Deena to be the real hero of the movie for several reasons. For one, Deena embodied what it was meant to be a dream girl. She's intelligent, highly talented, beautiful, classy, and she's essentially every man's dream. Furthermore, Effie thought that she was David Ruffin and that the Dreamgirls would fail without her. However, Deena proved Effie wrong and led the Dreamgirls to many years of hits and prosperity. And Deena was able to accomplish this while being humble and supporting her fellow friends in the process. But we also have to acknowledge Deena's ultimate sacrifice. Deena didn't owe Effie anything, but Deena was raised to do the right thing. And she does this by exposing the crimes that Curtis had committed over the years and against Effie, which in turn allows Effie to properly launch her solo career. Deena was also willing to lose everything that she had in order to make a clean break from Curtis. You see, good people, it is for these reasons that I would consider Deena to be the primary protagonist in Dreamgirls. Now, I know that some folks will come down on Deena because she officially got with Curtis after he and Effie broke up. But in my opinion, there's no such thing as bro or girl code after the manner in which Effie treated Deena and the rest of the group. But in closing, I just want to say that Effie is the type of character that many fans love and can relate to. But Deena is the character that many people should aspire to be, and that is just my opinion, but I'd like to know what you all think about it. Do you agree or disagree that Effie was the villain of the movie Dreamgirls and Deena was more of a hero? Feel free to leave all comments below in the comment section, and I'll be sure to reply to everybody. Until next time, stay tuned and stay safe. Peace.